normal routine, that kind of stuff.
That's correct. We just, if I have to add additional staff or if there's an increase or more of a burden, more personnel that we have to add, we'd ask that be included. If we can cover it with the staff we have on hand, and there are times where we don't necessarily have to do that, but we just want some consistency for that as well.
That's $40 per hour, right? Resolution, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion by Councilwoman Doucette, second by Councilman Zylka for Resolution 2013-24 for a fee schedule. Any discussion?
How often does this come up, Greg?
Lately, it's come up quite a bit. When an event, an organizer for an event, more and more they're requesting for dedicated service, so they might request for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, and then that's when I'll apply. So
Now, that last event at the, I can't remember the name, it was at the high school. Was that, did they pay for the service of the police officers then?
they're being billed, yes.
They are being billed. Okay. I didn't know you could do that. I mean, you could. Cool.
Any more discussion? Resolution 2013-24, please call the roll.
Gosiak?
Yes.
Hensel?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Zylka?
Yes.
Doucette?
Yes.
Zylka?
Yes.
Boyum?
Yes.
Loren?
Yes.
Resolution 2013-24 carries. Robin Hensel's request for Human Rights Commission. Considered.
Thank you, Robin Hensel, 807 First Street Southeast, Little Falls. I wrote a proclamation request to the mayor on 7/11/13, and it states, I ask that the second week of every December be declared Human Rights Week in Little Falls, Minnesota, in conjunction with International Human Rights Day, December 10th, global observance every year. And I thanked her for her consideration, and I said I would hope that we, on this important issue, we would wholeheartedly agree. And on that note, I'd like to introduce Rich Cousins, who is from the St. Cloud Regional Office of the Human Rights Department, and he's assured me he's going to tell us why this community would benefit from having a Human Rights Commission. Thank you, Rich, for coming.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you. My name is Richard Kuzan. I'm an investigator from the state of Minnesota. My jurisdiction covers St. Cloud, Sauk Rapids, Sartell, and St. Joseph. I just wanted to come up briefly. I know I was a late addition, so I won't take too much of your time. I just want to explain briefly what I do. First and foremost, I investigate charges of discrimination throughout the state. According to Minnesota statute 363, which covers the 13 protected classes and the 8 areas of protection. Similar to the federal version, the EEOC, but the Equal Opportunity Commission, but they only deal with employment, whereas the state, we deal with these seven other areas. Secondary, which to me is what I do mostly, is the education and outreach portion of it. I go out to employers and landlords and various other areas and give classes on what the Human Rights Act covers. What I find is that many of us don't know, or we translate it into what we believe it is. And I was guilty myself prior to moving from over from the criminal side. I heard human rights and I automatically thought minority rights. And once I actually became an investigator for the department, I thought, well, maybe I should actually read this thing. And what I came to find out is honestly, with the 13 protected classes, that's just the politician's way of dividing various groups. But everybody in this room belongs to 2, if not 3 or more protected classes. The protected classes such as race or sex or religion, it doesn't say black or Hispanic, or it just says race. So if you belong to a race, if you have a religious preference, atheism is considered a preference. That's a protected class. Sex, gender, sexual orientation, and so on. So what I'm saying is that that bill covers each and every citizen of our state. So it does pertain to everybody in this room. Just some of the things, prior to coming up, I ran the numbers for Little Falls, and I'm very proud and happy to inform you that so far, as of 2013, none of the businesses that have tax ID numbers of the addresses in the city of Little Falls are respondents of charges. So basically what I'm saying, as of today, no one has felt that they were discriminated against in the city of Little Falls. So congratulations. Unfortunately, some of your citizens we can't say the same. Some of your citizens that maybe work in other areas are feeling like they're being discriminated, specifically in the area of age. Age is number one. So if I was to say, if you were to ask me who's more likely to be discriminated against in our city, I would tell you persons of age of 45 or greater, and second would be young females pregnant, and that goes under disability. It seems to see that is a statewide trend, by the way. Age and disability hand in hand in discrimination cases. What we do in St. Cloud is again, I go out and I teach upon our employers, because 80% of the cases originate in the area of employment. So I go out and talk to employers and tell them what their responsibilities are, what I look for when I conduct an investigation. There are no secrets. I don't like to, again, I'm not on the criminal side, so I don't need to hold any secrets. I teach record keeping and everything that me and my counterparts from St. Paul we look for, and we also mediate cases. To date, and one of the most proudest things that I feel that I've accomplished in the St. Cloud area is for the past 3 years that we've had our office open in St. Cloud, the police department has not had one case alleged of discrimination in St. Cloud. And Chief, I don't know if you can attest, but to have, I was a police officer myself, and believe me, I too have been accused of pulling people over because they were black. I'm telling you, when people commit crimes, you go through no lengths to try to prove that you're not guilty. So to say that the St. Cloud has not had one case come up, I'm pretty proud of that. But because, again, that's because we mediate. I don't just run in and start pointing fingers. We try to sit down and we talk and we mediate a solution. The commission for St. Cloud is made up of various citizens in the local community. It's not unlike any other commission. It's all volunteer, and what we serve is that they have the idea is to have at least 1 or 2 members from each demographic of the area, and we meet once a month, and they come to me with whatever issues that their area is facing, and hopefully if it's within the law, if it's something that we can help, our department helps them with that. Are there any questions?
Anybody got any questions?
Yeah, we have an investigator for this area.
I'm sorry?
Do we have an existing investigator for Morrison County area?
No, sir. What you fall under, and this is the bad part of government, I believe, is do more with less. The reason why St. Cloud and those other cities have a dedicated investigator, which I'm the only dedicated investigator outside of St. Paul, is because they applied for a grant awarded by HUD, because our department, the Department of Human Rights, it is the smallest branch of state government. Today we have 8 dedicated investigators for the entire state, including myself. So, which means we have 7 for the entire state. So what happens if a citizen of Little Falls has an allegation that they say that they were discriminated against, and if it's not one of those cities that I cover, I try to go outside of that and pull them in. So technically, by contract, they're supposed to go down to St. Paul. What happens is they get thrown in with everybody else, and I do mean everybody else when we're talking about people that sometimes work in Wisconsin and come back, this is a national thing. So you're getting grouped in and you're getting disseminated to the next investigator on the list, just almost like a tree. And then it's switched up. The bad part about that is according to statute, you have 1 year statute of limitations to bring charges against whoever you feel is discriminated against you. After that, there's no legal course for the state, I should say, for the state. We can't step in. The problem, though, is about the time an investigator gets a case on their desk, it's usually about 6 to 8 months time frame from when you felt that, when you first reported it. And then now we're talking, you know, that short a time to get a thorough investigation. So the city of St. Cloud didn't like that, and they wanted a dedicated investigator. So they did request extra funding from HUD, in which they received. The reason why I came up, because I certainly didn't want to say, for, you know, I didn't want to give you a sales pitch. The reason why I thought it would be beneficial for you is here recently, Mayor Kleiss has extended a 32-month kind of a grace period for St. Cloud would fit the bill and pay for the services and include you in, and to with the hopes that you would like that service and maybe after 32 months then join in, and it's paid per capita. So it's on your residence, based in the city of St. Joseph, which is comparable to Little Falls, I believe. City of St. Joseph pays 36 cents per adult resident a year. So we're talking about $3,200 for the first year that they paid, or that HUD, the grant, I should say, HUD paid them to pay the state of Minnesota. That was a long question answer. I apologize, sir.
Well, just imagine if you feel your human rights are violated, say, for instance, in Little Falls, you had to try to take that to St. Paul, and then the frustration of waiting 6 to 8 months, and then not even knowing you're going to get on the docket might cause you to drop everything and just walk away.
I couldn't agree with you more, sir. Actually, just as I was sitting here, I received an email from a young lady in St. Cloud who was just informed that she is to be terminated after she gives birth. And you know, these are it's sad, but it happens, and I see that quite often. Quite often, that what happens is they know that, when I say they, some employers know that to sue, it costs money to sue. You just can't raise your hand and sue for anything. And the state will pay for this free of cost for the whole, all the way up to the very end. And they do hope that you kind of quit and let the system beat you rather than you stand up and fight. And so this young lady now, who I'm gonna try to look into her case and see what it is. If she was to go down to the cities, Twin Cities, and have to get in the same system with everybody else, her child would roughly be starting kindergarten, theoretically, by the time this case could be mediated out. I just finished a case where a man in Alexandria lost his limb at work, and we're on year 3. And he lost a limb and was terminated after that, after his job changed the position description to add climbing to his job after he lost a limb at work. So,
could you briefly explain, if we had this commission, how would they operate and what would be the value? Are they like a subdivision, or they report to us if there was a report of a discrimination that goes to them? I guess I'm just trying to understand, you know, how the process would work.
right, what would happen, and I'll explain how it's worked. How about, but the commission would be under the guise of City Hall, I would guess. That's how it is in St. Cloud. And these, the commission advises the council as to what's going on in the community. And the council and the commission and I and other representatives from the state government, we meet and we try to decide what's the best course for Little Falls. And I'll put your city, because you may be facing a situation whereas in Minneapolis, they don't deal with. Let's say in St. Cloud, there's a large Somali population, whereas you may not have that here. So we'll sit down and we'll develop a plan, a yearly plan every year, and follow what's the best for your residents. And then that's the stepping stone, is developing a commission. Then once you have a commission, then I can go to the commissioner of the Department of Human Rights and say, sir, they have a commission in place. I would like to extend them into our jurisdiction, meaning now you have a dedicated enforcement officer, which is myself, who answers to your call all hours of the night. I don't have a life, I don't sleep. And I'm a Raider fan, so I got nothing else to do. So yeah, no, I get with the chief of police, fire department. We develop all kind of plans to see which way your citizens want me to act, and I work in essence for you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Did you say that the mayor of St. Cloud invited us in on a 3-year?
He has extended that to the other surrounding cities of St. Cloud.
Oh, I see.
And I thought that if we can get a conversation going, well, piggyback, why not? He's not here. Let's just tell the truth. Let's just call him up and say, sir, can we get on? I mean, normally I'm not this abrupt, but when I get calls like this at 8:30 at night and there's a young lady that's, 6 months pregnant that's not going to have a job in 3 months, it kind of tugs at my heart. So yes, sir, that would be, I have a meeting with Mayor Kleiss on the 4th, and I've already spoken to his city administrator, Mr. Williams, and they know that I'll be bringing this up to them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We want to bring this up to planning meeting?
This is a topic that I've been looking at a little bit. I had called Robin to offer an apology for the way that I responded to her last time, and following her acceptance, she asked if I would investigate this particular topic. As you look at the website for the Human Rights Commission, you'll see that it was started back in 1967. It replaced the Office of Discrimination or something like this. It's been going for like 100 and some years. Since 1967, the legislation that authorized this has been amended 15 or 20 times to include other things that would come up. There is the office in St. Paul. There is the regional office in St. Cloud. Their website also says that you can contact any social service agency of the 87 counties in the state of Minnesota, as well as the fact that there are about 5 or 6 professional agencies that will also perform these services. For instance, the Lawyers Association and groups such as that. So it seems, as I looked at that and looked it over, and then I heard said that we should be complimented because we've not had a violation. It would seem that this is a redundant level of bureaucracy that would be something that would be addressing issues that other agencies are currently doing. So I guess, Mr. President, I would move that we accept this report and place it on file.
Okay, we have a motion to accept this report and place it on file. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Boyum, second by Councilwoman Doucette to place this on file. Any more discussion?
Well, does that placing on file, we can still bring it up at our next work session and discuss it more? Is that correct?
I would suppose if someone wants to bring it up.
I would still make that request out at our next work session, because I think there was added information that maybe Mr. Boyum didn't hear tonight, but
Mr. President, Rich would like to make an explanation as to what Loren has said. May he have just a couple more moments to explain?
Yes?
Thank you.
I won't walk. The redundancy, that is something other agencies do as a pro bono. We'll take up the cause, but there's only one agency in the state of Minnesota that has enforcement capability, and that would be our department, sir. So there's no redundancy at the sunk end, because if you were to have an attorney to take your case, they would go through just as any other citizen could represent themselves in court. But as far as a government adding the enforcement portion of it, which would require you to do it by law, we're the only ones in the state of Minnesota with enforcement capabilities. That is why St. Cloud ended their own city discrimination office, because they did not have enforcement capabilities, and they took on the state. I mean, our office moved in because we were able to go to contractors and say, this is the law and you must follow it, or else we'll shut down your site. So that's the difference between the other 87 agencies in the county. They have no enforcement capabilities.
Mr. President, can I ask one more question?
Sure.
Now, you said there wasn't any case of discrimination. You commended our city for that in the beginning of your presentation. But didn't you say something about we do have age discrimination in our area?
Yes, sir. Meaning, when I run the tax ID numbers for businesses and when we responded, I'm saying as of right now, no one has alleged that they were discriminated against by a business that with a tax ID number of an address in the city of Little Falls. But your citizens that live here, that travel outside of Little Falls, that may work in St. Cloud, and I'm being general because I can't give specifics because of Privacy Act.
Sure.
They are facing discrimination when they go to work in other areas.
So would that person then, where would they seek help from where their that place of work or from their residence?
If what I'm saying is what I've been doing is that if it's in St. Cloud or another city, I kind of sneak them in.
I see.
You know, or else. But let's just say if they were, let's say Camp Ripley. If you were a civilian working at Camp Ripley and you live in Little Falls also, and you were discriminated against at work, you would have to go through our St. Paul office.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have a motion on the floor. We have a second. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye. And then I'm going to make that request that it's on the planning meeting at the next meeting, so we can discuss it more.
Thank you. E, cameras to be placed in the gallery of the citizens gallery instead of up here in the counter like they have been, or wherever. Mr. Gosiak, you brought that up.
Yes, I did. There have been cameras around this area. Sometimes they have infringed on council. I personally do not see any need to have 4 cameras or more sitting around the room. It's getting in the way and stuff. I would prefer to see it if the audience or community members choose to bring cameras. They have a right, you know, to video cam any public meeting like this, but I would prefer to have them do it in the citizens gallery area. And that was something I brought up, and personally I'd like to see it that way.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
Okay.
Second that. And clarification of that motion would be that the cameras would be located at or behind the first row of seating in the gallery. Is that correct?
That would be correct. I could see it being a little bit closer because if it's in front of the people and they're in the front row,
but it would be.
Within their,
By the person.
that's
sitting
right,
in front.
that's right.
Any more discussion?
My concern would be that, to make sure that they don't obstruct the view of the rest of the people participating.
Okay.
But, you know, that's something we can enforce. I don't know if that has to be part of the motion or not.
So if someone in the audience wanted to film the people in the audience, that's still possible because they would just be having their camera in the front row facing the audience, is that correct? I mean, that's a possibility.
That's their option, I guess.
I would say so.
Any more discussion? All in favor of said motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Personnel policy 19 and 19A.